Hello, my name is Jessie and welcome back to another What I Eat in a Week. Today is week 8. Wow, it's the last week of Pantry Challenge already. How sad. But this week we had a lot of good dishes because I really went through the fridge and the freezer to empty out all those tiny little containers that we have in the back of the fridge, the bottom of the freezer, and we're gonna cook them all. Are you guys ready? Day 50, I was going through our fridge and I saw this whole head of Romanesco that we got from our CSA box like 3 weeks ago, and we need to use it up. And also there was like 2 beautiful pork chops in the freezer, so they are perfectly made for each other. So we're gonna have a garlic buttered pork chops with the garlic butter roasted whole Romanesco. First, let's go over how to make the garlic butter roasted Romanesco. With 6 cloves of minced garlic, we're going to add 1 tablespoon of butter into it and microwave for 30 seconds. And now we got garlic butter. We would also need 1 teaspoon of the buttery steakhouse seasoning. Let's trim the Romanesco and add it in a boiling water with 1 teaspoon of buttery steakhouse seasoning and blanch for 3 minutes. Take it out and put on a baking sheet. Add our garlic butter on it and roast it in a 425-degree oven for 5 minutes. And we are done! Now we're gonna make the garlic butter pork chop. We would need 2 pork chops, buttery steakhouse seasoning. With 6 cloves of garlic and 1 tablespoon of butter, we microwave for 30 seconds and now we got garlic butter. Season the pork chops with the buttery steakhouse seasoning on all sides. In a hot skillet with some oil, sear all sides of the pork chops. Once seared, add the pork chops in a 425-degree oven for 10 minutes. Once the internal temperature reaches 145 degrees, add the garlic butter, paste it a little bit, and wow, look at that. Dinner is ready. That was one good dinner. That whole roasted Romanesco kind of make the dish look so fancy at home. And I know I show 2 different shorts of how to make the Romanesco and then the pork chop, but in real life when I made that dinner, they actually go hand in hand together. While the pork chop is being seared on the stove, I have the Romanesco in the oven for 5 minutes and then take it out, put the pork chop in, and because they both call for the same temperature of the oven, they came together in 30 minutes and it was so good. Day 51 is a Tuesday, and usually on Tuesday we either do a Tuesday taco, Tuesday takeout, or just not cooking at all. And that's what we did. We had a date night and we went to one of my favorite Italian restaurants in town to have my absolutely favorite pizza, and it was such a good dinner. And you wouldn't believe what I did. I didn't have any pictures of it. How sad, but it was really, really good. And we all need a date night here and there. So it was such a good day to spend on Tuesday night with each other. Day 52, because we had such a good Italian dinner the night before, I was still in the mood for more Italian food. And so I decided to make my favorite pasta sauce to have a pasta dinner, and it is Bolognese sauce pasta. And usually this sauce is my favorite, but I don't make it often because it takes so much work. But this time with tips and tricks, I were able to put it together in no time. So let's check it out. For this sauce, we would need carrot, celery, onion, all minced up, 1 jar of tomato pasta sauce, 6 ounces of mushroom that are thickly sliced because we like it like that, 1 pound of ground beef, 1 quart of red wine beef stock from our previous dish. In a sauce pot, we would add 1 tablespoon of garlic confit, ground beef, stir fry until the beef is brown, add in the chopped vegetables, mix it all together. Now we add in tomato sauce and then the red wine beef stock. Bring it to a boil and then simmer it for 30 minutes. Add some salt and pepper to taste. And wow, look at that. Lastly, we add mushrooms. A pinch of red pepper flakes, optional. And just add it onto the pasta. And dinner is ready with some cheese. Usually, Bolognese sauce would take at least 3 hours. And not to mention all the choppings of the vegetable and stuff. But this time, it was so quick because a few weeks ago when our carrots and celery was getting a little bit sad, I decided to chop it up and put them in the freezer instead of wasting them. So we had that part taken care of. And if you remember on day 32, we had that beautiful red wine braised short ribs. At the end of the dinner, we still have a lot of that braising liquid left. And what I did was I put it in the container and freeze it. And that's why we had that pre-made, homemade red wine beef stock. And with that, all that flavors add in today, the bolognese sauce take no time to finish, and it was so good, melting in your mouth with all the flavors. It was such a good dinner. Day 53 was a Thursday, and work was really long this day. We haven't been home for a whole day, so we couldn't really go out and eat because we have to come back for the dogs, and we need dinner quickly because I was so hungry. I went to the fridge and I saw this whole head of broccolis. Guess what we're gonna do? Beef broccoli! For this dish, we would need 1 pound of thinly sliced beef, 8 ounces of broccoli. To marinate the beef, 1 tablespoon of garlic confit, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, half a tablespoon of sugar, 1 tablespoon of cornstarch, and mix them together to marinate. Add 1 tablespoon of oil in a hot wok. Add in the beef, spread them out so they can come in contact with the wok. Add half a tablespoon of dark soy sauce for some coloring. It's optional. Now make a well for the broccoli to come in. Add in the broccoli. Stir fry it together. Add a splash of water, about 1 tablespoon. And again, add them all together and we are done. And that was quicker and better than takeout, seriously. And on nights that we were so short in time, rushing home to take care of the dogs and so hungry, a stir fry is always a good idea. It comes together in literally 15 minutes, especially when we have all the ingredients kind of pre-prepped in the fridge already. It was one quick, easy, and good Thursday dinner. What else can I ask for? Day 54. Toward the end of the week, I again go through the fridge, the pantry to see what we have in the fridge that are about to go bad because I really don't want to waste any food. And oh boy, I found little containers of 1 cup of blueberries from the Valentine's, which is like 2 weeks ago, and 2 cups of whole milk that are about to go bad. I either freeze it or toss it out in the next few days. And we have some old-fashioned oats in the pantry that I want to use up. So guess what? I'm going to grab some breakfast for myself for the next few days and making a blueberry baked oatmeal. Let's do it together. All right, let's put this blueberry baked oatmeal together. You would need 4 eggs, a 1/4 cup of agave syrup, a tablespoon of vanilla extract. Mix it together. 2 cups of whole milk, 1.5 cups of rolled oat, 1/4 cup of pumpkin seed, a 1/4 cup of chia seed. Mix them together. 1 cup of blueberries, 2 tablespoons of salted butter. Mix them all together. Prep a loaf pan and put some parchment paper in it. And I add about 1/2 cup of the oatmeal mixture in each compartment. And then 1 tablespoon of peach spread. Bake them at 375 degrees for 20 minutes. And 7 breakfasts are prep. That was one great way to use up all the leftovers. And this recipe is so diverse that we can pretty much add anything or take anything out based on what we have or what we want. The only thing we really need to follow are the eggs, the milk, and the oatmeal so they can come in the right consistency. But like all the nuts, fruits, and everything, it's really up to you. And I personally always love to have a little warm and sweet breakfast in the morning, but in the morning we can't never have that kind of time, or a lot of time I don't have that kind of time. So having all these baked oatmeal prepped for 7 breakfast was such a good way of using up all of my leftovers. I was about to go bed and I have breakfast for the whole week. That was such a win-win situation. Day 55 was a Saturday and I wanted to make something special. And guess what? I kid you not, I found a package of these 2 duck breasts in the back of my freezer. And if we didn't do this pantry challenge, I don't know how much longer those duck breasts gonna be in the freezer. So I'm so glad I'm able to empty things out and eat, all the great stuff that I have before they go bad. So I'm gonna make something special tonight. We are having a crispy pan-fried duck breast with orange butter sauce and roasted butternut squash. It's so good that I wanted to keep this recipe so I can repeat it later on. So I decided to make a long video out of it, and I would link it somewhere up here for you guys. It was such a good and special date night dinner at home. It gives you that restaurant quality and the look of it, and I get to use all the special ingredients of winter that I have in the house: the cara orange, the butternut squash, and the duck. So it was such a good dinner. You guys should check it out to make it to impress someone. Last day of the week, and I know I've been saying this through the whole videos that I'm trying to look at what I need to use up because, well, it's the end of the pantry challenge and things been sitting in the fridge or on the counter for a while. I really need to keep an eye out to make sure they won't go bad. And I've had these Delicata squash on my counter for, I think, 4 weeks now from the CSA box. I really need to find a way to use it up. And guess what? We're gonna make a Delicata squash boat for dinner today. To put this boat together, we would need Delicata squash, a tomato, 8 ounces of cooked Italian sausage, an onion, and 8 ounces of ground beef. First, microwave the squash for 2 minutes. Chop the tomato and onion. Add 1 teaspoon of prosciutto seasoning mix in the beef. Mix it together. Now cut the squash in half. Use a fork to puncture the inside of the squash. Add salt and pepper, a little bit of olive oil. Roast the squash in a 375-degree oven for 20 minutes. Add 1 teaspoon of olive oil in a pan. Onion, beef. Brown the beef up until it's almost cooked. Add in the cooked sausage. Now the tomato. Mix them all together. Take the squash out the oven. Add the stuffing into the squash. Put it back in the oven under the broiler for 2 minutes. Watch it please, it may burn quickly. Now add some parsley and wow, what a beautiful dinner! I was so excited for this dinner because when we got these squashes in our CSA box, I was at a loss of what to make with them because I don't cook with squashes a lot, and that's what I love about this pantry challenge and also the CSA produce delivery that we have. It's kind of pushed me out of the comfort zone to make different dishes, and putting the stuffing inside the squash and roast it, that was one fulfilling dinner that we didn't need anything else. We have enough of the protein, the vegetable, and the squash itself was served as almost like a side dish, and the vegetable itself. That was one good dinner that gave me the extra confidence of cooking with squashes now. Technically, this was the last week of the pantry challenge because I promised myself to do a 60-day challenge, so I'm gonna do another 4 days. And throughout this videos, you've heard me talk about CSA boxes. It's a local company that delivers local in-season organic produce to our place, and we order it. Depends on how much we need, and I usually do it once a month, and they deliver a box of it. It's a surprise. It's whatever in season, whatever the local farmers have. And so far, I've been cooking with just the first box and I love it. So after the challenge, I think I'm gonna start making more dishes focusing on these local in-season produce more. What do you guys think? But the pantry challenge is not over yet for us. Next week, we will have the last 4 days of the pantry challenge and a recap of my thought about the whole challenge, what I've learned, what I would avoid next time, and so forth. So don't forget to come back next week for another week of the pantry challenge and maybe what would come up next for our channel. Until next time, bye!